I'm Chris from Help AG. Today we're talking with Kostas from F5 about the exciting movements we're seeing around AI. The whole industry is accepting and adopting AI at such a rapid pace, and of course, realizing massive benefits. But along with these benefits come the risks. And one of those big risks that we're constantly seeing and assisting our customers with is around visibility. Of course, everything starts with governance, but once you understand and adopt AI, how do you control it? How do you manage this in a production environment? So Kostas, tell us a little bit about what F5's doing and seeing from an AI adoption standpoint, and how we can help customers trust their environments, trust their deployments, and ultimately trust the use of AI.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's very important for organizations these days. So everything starts with visibility. This is what we think. This is what we believe. And why it's important is organizations need to know their employees what are the AI models that they're using, what is the data that they are uploading. This could lead to significant risks, sensitive data exposure. So it's very important to put visibility into how the employees are using the AI models. But also when we're developing AI applications, it's very important to monitor our users, the consumer of the app. What is the questions they're asking our model? What is the intent about the questions? What is the answer of our AI model? If we have that visibility, we are able then to put guardrails around it and secure it. So this is the first thing that we need to do when it comes to AI. We need to apply visibility both on the models that we consume, but also visibility on how our model is operating.
That's very interesting because we often think about visibility purely from an employee standpoint, right? It's how do we protect our users? How do we protect our data? But you're absolutely right. And I mean, I think this is something that a lot of our customers are starting to understand as they deploy either into the hyperscale cloud and consuming these AI services or on-prem. When they're deploying these models, they need to protect from, malicious intent, and they need to, protect from, let's call it, inappropriate data perhaps leaving. That might be inappropriate in that it's not something that the organization wants to talk about, or something that's, hallucinations. So I know, of course, F5 has a market-leading approach to guardrails. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, so we need to think of how the AI is evolving over the last several months. It's a very fast evolving solution now. What is important to understand is that when an AI is answering questions for the users, there is a significant risk to that. And the reason is that the AI model has been trained with corporate data. Most of the customers would have implemented a RAG, and that information within the RAG might not be properly data classified, okay? Or it could have access to data that the organization doesn't want to leak. So even if we apply and we publish an application like a chatbot, which is answering questions, if you haven't done the correct data classification and you haven't applied the correct access control, that could lead to, as you mentioned, it could have severe consequences, sensitive data leakage. Now, when we're moving to a multi-agent environment, and this is where organizations are moving to, an agent talking to another agent, and the agents then take actions or execute a workflow, this is where the consequences could become significantly higher, as it could have operational impact within the organization. This is where F5 believes that the trust cannot stand with a single model, right? It needs to have a continuous testing on how the agents behave, how and what is the trust of each agent and how it can break. And this is where our red teaming comes in to test the boundaries and what the agent is able to do. And then we need to have a real-time consistent security policy across the different agents in order to enforce the trust boundary of what the agents can do. Definitely when we deploy an AI, we don't want to have bad consequences. Okay, so this is where F5's red teaming and guardrail can work hand in hand to detect the gap through red teaming and use guardrails to enforce the secure trust and operation across your organization.
One of the things that's really interesting for me, of course, is that this AI red teaming capability is such an interesting one because it gives me, it throws me back to memories of the application security testing sort of world, right? Where we release software and of course we have to test it. And I think models are not necessarily any different to that. So when we're releasing a model, of course, we have to test it. You need to assess it. But it's not like a VAPT that's a point in time, the kind of things that our offensive teams have been doing, for many years. This AI red teaming, yes, of course, it can be delivered as a sort of one-time assessment and assurance that organizations need from, a certified vendor like HelpAG. But I think it's very important, of course, that we look at this continuous approach because, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is where we're seeing such a rapid change due to the creativity of how the attackers are approaching models. The way that I might write a prompt today would elicit a certain response. And perhaps when a new version of a model comes out, I could use that same prompt or that same technique that perhaps was not as successful in the past, and now it's more successful. And this is one of those great things that I love about F5, is that you've integrated that red teaming, which is happening continuously, with the guardrails to not only detect, but also prevent, this from happening.
That's correct. And why continuous testing is very important is because the release of new models is very rapidly. Now, this is not the only thing that is changing within an AI environment. You have the data, which is continuously getting updated, right? And one day you might not have sensitive data on your RAG. Next day, you could have some information that you don't want to be exposed. The integrations change. As you said, innovation is extremely fast and quick. So you would have new MCP servers, you're going to have new agents, new functionalities. Everything needs to be tested before this is released to the public, but also while it is released, it needs to be continuously tested because new threats, new data, new models, everything could have a different outcome.
Yeah, one of the things that's also very important that you mentioned is this agent-to-agent, this multi-agent deployment architecture that we're going to, where we've modernized and we've started to sort of scale AI to a point where we've never had before. How does F5's deployment model support customers in that journey, particularly when we look at the regional insights?
So one of the most important things is that with F5, you can have our guardrails and red teaming being deployed on-prem.
Amazing.
And this is something that our customers looking forward to. There is a lot of sensitive data that you don't want to have on a hyperscaler or on the cloud. So it's very important that we see and we meet the customers where they at. And when it comes to a model to model, we bring the trust as a consistent runtime security across any model that you might use, any agent that you might use. So regardless what is the agents that you will use or the model, we try to maintain a trust boundary so that you can be allowed to innovate and be fast, but maintain control of how your agents, how your AI is going to interact, behave, and respond back to your users.
So essentially what you're saying is that from chatbots to agents to multi-agent environments, F5 is introducing the capability for the customer to secure those workloads, secure that inference layer, secure those tool executions, ultimately to allow or enable that trust to ultimately ensure that AI behaves in a predictable way. Although it's non-deterministic, it's predictable to some extent, it's controlled to some extent, and of course, let's be honest, that allows all of us as engineers to sleep better at night, right? Knowing full well that our environments are secure.
That's correct. Now, another aspect to it is nobody knows how the enterprise AI would look in 3 years' time, or even less than that. So we definitely need to have a multi-model agnostic solution that would behave exactly the same. It would maintain the same boundaries as you have said that. And through LPG security services. Maintaining this is extremely important for all the organizations in the region.
Yeah, thank you for that good word. I mean, of course, one of the things that we're very proud of course, at Help AG is our partnership with F5. We've got an amazing team, highly certified. We've been involved in many deployments with our customers jointly, of course, which is great. And I must be honest, it's always great to work with a customer who's excited about F5, as excited about F5 as what we are, because of course, bringing market leaders to the region, to the industry, to the customers themselves, of course, is always a very enjoyable experience. And when those engineers are sleeping well at night, I think they know that they have both of us to thank, and of course, the wonderful organizations behind us.
That is true.
Kostas, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
you. It's been amazing chatting to you.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy.